Hi everybody, Heather here at Paradise on Pennies, and I want to address another question that we get very often, and it has to do with showering and how often do we get to shower, because those of you that follow us know that our lifestyle is pretty untraditional. We are completely off-grid. We live in a truck camper, but we are never attached to the grid, water, power, anything like that. We live really simple this way. And we like that, but we have mentioned sometimes that showering is not something that happens very frequently around here. And I know some people think, ew, gross, I could never do that. But remember, we live this way for a very important trade-off, and that is more time instead of having to work for a big house and all the luxuries, even though some of the luxuries I do miss. I love showering. I love a hot shower, especially on a cold day, so don't get me wrong. Like one of my favorite luxuries. I talked about that in a video, it's been a while, where we talked about some of the things we miss, and that was one of my number one things that I miss is a warm shower. Some days, but most days I do okay without it. So admittedly, it's not as bad as you think, I promise. Now, let's get to the answer to the question, how often do we shower? How infrequent is this actually? I said the answer might surprise you, and it probably will, because compared to the average American, let's say, we probably shower a real shower. I mean, it varies, but definitely no more than 6 times in a year, probably way less than that for a real shower. When I say real shower, I'm referring to actually being, in a standard shower, say in a house or whatever, or even if in a facility of some sort where you have running water and your soaps and stuff like that. Differentiating between, we do have another way to shower. We carry around a shower bag. So that is a way that we can actually shower as well. And so you might be thinking, well, then why don't you just use the shower bag all the time and have showers way more frequently than, that 2 to 6 times a year number? And my answer there is, again, simplicity. Like I said, I know that people live on the road and they can shower more often, but our whole thing here is really different, and we don't have access to constant water flow. So we'll load up with our water and head out to the middle of nowhere, and we only have the water that we have, and we need it for priority for drinking, for us and the dogs, and for cooking. So we don't like to waste water on just, showering and just just kind of using it without being a little conservative about that use. So when we can use that shower bag is actually limited as well. We do like having it, but it's usually something like if we are near a river, because then we can fill it up and we can sit it out, and the weather also has to be just perfect at that time. Too often are we at, say, a river spot and it's just too cold or something, and then we can't, it's just not enjoyable, or it's cloudy and we can't get the shower bag to warm up the water, so what a pain. I know we could heat it up on a fire and stuff like that if we really wanted to. It's an option, although sometimes it's kind of more trouble than it's worth just to clean up. And the shower bag, I'd say, is different than a real shower, because in a real shower you kind of have this almost unlimited amount of water concept when you're standing there, whereas a shower bag drains very quickly, and you also have to fight with your mate or travel buddy off who gets it and how much water they get and how you share that. So shower bags out there as an option, and so we do that a couple times a year as well, but like I said, it has to line up just perfectly with location, water amount that we have available, weather, things like that. So I'd say real shower probably a couple times a year, give or take. Like I said, it's probably within the 2 to 6 times a year range, and that's because really it's usually just if we have a friend along the way that says, hey, come take a shower. They know our lifestyle and that we don't get to shower frequently, and I've had met some cool friends that way too, that have said hey, I lived on the road, or I was off grid and I know what it's like, so come have the luxury of water. But then the shower bag a couple times a year too. other than that, it's, like I said, it's not as gross as you think, because yeah, you can get in water and at least rinse off. I mean, we really don't need to soap up every day or twice a day. I mean, the average American probably does that. By rinsing off, you get a lot of the stuff off. I mean, at the beginning, when we were in the SUV, we didn't even have the shower bag, and it was like, you know, what's that called, when the polar plunge or something like that. I mean, we were like getting in really cold water just to have some rinsing off. It was kind of awesome and kind of horrible at the same time. But hey, I won't, you know, I loved it. I loved the opportunity we were getting in the adventure. So, you know, you kind of trade off for things, and that's kind of how I view it. It's not that big of a deal. It's a whole lot of fun. But yeah, just believe it or not, for you know, anybody that is, well, most people in a traditional lifestyle, having that shower is really convenient. So enjoy it since you have it. It's look at it as a luxury. I will be, having said that, keep an eye out here, guys, because we've got a series coming up. Just a little let you know of another playlist that I'm working on here. It's coming soon, and I'm going to be talking about this topic. I find it very interesting about some of the things that we do that are untraditional, and how, say for the topic of water, how we use a lot less by living this way. And, you know, not everybody has to necessarily use as little as we do, but boy, is it a takeaway on the whole needs versus wants, luxuries versus necessity type perspective. And how, I mean, we're surviving, we're happy, we're fine, even though we don't shower that often, right? So it is doable. So I want to show you guys how big of a difference it actually makes. And it's massive, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited about this. I've been doing a lot of research and crunching numbers and writing all our stuff out too, from, you know, the just numbers of everything around here. And I want to show you guys how amazing it is. So that's coming soon. But for now, just want to leave you guys with the answer to that question about showering. It's a big one. There's also a video somewhere floating around here on the channel about showering. I'll stick the link down eventually. Where I talked about all the different ways. So if you're getting ready to get out there and be a nomad and you're thinking about the showering thing, maybe you want to shower more frequently than we do. I talk about that and the options that we did consider and what's out there and people that we've talked to, what they do. And so I kind of like went down the line, and then I also talk about a little more in detail as to what we do. So showering on the road for nomads is here as well. So check that out. But I'll leave you with that. If you ever see me out on the streets, hopefully I don't stink too bad, but we'll be enjoying the nomad off-grid life nonetheless. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.